it's good. You get to see what we're modeling.
All right. We're live. And then where you go.
TJ's running this, I'm just here for.
So I might have you.
You know what? I haven't learned to do
Sure.
Smooth out things.
Because then if you.
I'm here to do that.
Ignore me.
Well, I had my role,
You know, and we can all watch.
I got you. I'm here to see. And how much?
because the
Okay,
instructions
well,
are.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Yeah, you just use your login. Pull the presentation, like through the Zoom, like I'll make sure you're invited to that.
Yep.
And then I will have you pull up the presentation through the Zoom, just like you share a screen. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
I just was like, what is this? You know?
I know, so I don't think it's.
Hi, Janice, are you?
I feel like it's like one of those things where I'm like. Some kid with a walk. They're like, what is this? Do you need on your phone, but see anybody is? Oh. Out and about. Sure.
Just will the board, will the committee members be reaching out to you or like just about everything?
But yeah, I mean, it's more of a get on since it's you.
Yeah, and then guests.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, all in.
The small pizzas are gluten free. I repeat, the small pizzas are gluten free.
You basically need to.
You kind of don't notice it, 'cause it's like.
I will say, these are so easy. Roll in, plug it in, watch.
That's quite a lot of fun. So. Easy as. Oil basically built. Easy environments. I think.
I will get the Zoom in. Oh, you've got.
I've got it.
Okay, good.
So I can just join it from my calendar, right? Log in.
And then just present through that.
Okay, so the only thing I don't know is there's presentation mode on this.
Yeah, and Lewinberg just pulled it up.
That's how I think.
No, it's okay. I can figure it out. I just couldn't remember. I can't. Here, slideshow. Yeah. I'm used to I'm used to PowerPoint,
Yeah.
not Google Slides. That's the only reason I asked that.
No.
The only
Yeah.
reason I.
I still go back to PowerPoint, that's still, you know.
It's like I build it in PowerPoint and then I like convert it. Yeah, I know. I'll get better. I'll get better.
Give me a couple of years, I'm going back.
That's right. That's right.
Now I'm messing around in both of them.
I know.
And it seems like I'm. Look at me now.
So.
Did either.
The link for, am I joining the link, this one, Derek, or this one? General viewing, or am I joining?
That one.
This one, okay. Use microphone and camera?
No.
Someone does, so we get the first step.
It's already done.
Because I have my.
I'm due exactly
So,
why.
but we're gonna
exactly why I
skip
asked. That's exactly why I asked this question.
I'm like, is that right?
The role. Yeah, pretty good.
Want to ask you questions? 3 years ago.
Yeah. This is the one I was on today.
They're gonna let people know I'm here.
Huh.
Zoom's gonna let you know I'm here.
Oh, right, I gotta like. I was like, huh? I did notice though, I'm like, why is the screen doing that?
I think we should,
Oh. It's not today.
I think we should mention this is why we're modifying. This is the perfect example of why.
Perfect example. Well, and it's out like when I got.
Yeah, there you go.
No, you're like, what am I? All right, so
Oh, yes.
what's that?
Something needs to pause.
So I paused.
Yeah, yeah.
This isn't my computer, so. I just muted the speaker on this thing.
Okay.
So now what if you undo it?
Anyone? Anyone? Okay, maybe that's.
That's probably it, because it was coming from here, so the speaker was on this computer, so I just muted it.
Okay.
I think we're good, even though I said don't use the microphone or
Then you
speaker.
can present.
I should be able to present, yeah.
You should be able to make sure that gets up. And then if someone
Oh,
log in,
I am
not a presenter.
host, I'm not a presenter. It's telling me host disabled attendee screen sharing. This is why we get here early, Derek, see, so we can figure out. Hey. You also. Until we take people out of. Okay, if we can do that, that's fine. With the pages. That's you. I'm not. No. She said. Yes, no, one said we be on the house, so we can do that. And we just sit.
It's like a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Oh, we got.
There's a Super Bowl.
It's the plan. Yeah, everybody has mentioned.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty close.
There's a real Super Bowl.
I know,
It's not.
I was like, sorry. It is.
As soon as we
Pretty excited
take
about.
it off, it will go away.
I was on the.
Yes, Sarah, I'm making you a co-host.
Okay,
And Norm has joined.
okay.
Norm, if you can hear us, we're still figuring stuff out, so stand by.
Okay,
Can we hear him?
I don't know.
Oh, that's.
It'll go that first thing.
Like I think he just spoke and we can't hear him.
hello, I can hear you guys.
Oh, good. Do you want to mute and let me unmute if it's this big speaker?
Oh.
Nope. You did.
All right, we're trying to get Norm, can you hear?
They tried. Yeah, there's no one to. Yeah.
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear him from somewhere. Is that your computer?
Didn't hear him from there.
Didn't hear him from over here, but heard him.
Keep talking, Norm.
Keep talking, Norm.
Okay, yeah, I can see you guys. I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you. We're just gonna try and.
We're gonna-
We're gonna try and turn you up.
I'll be on our end.
Okay. Good thing I dialed in a little early.
Line time was good.
I thought you were.
That's what I thought.
That's a little.
Yes, I'm ready.
Taking that as a win. I'm just running the PowerPoint.
Well, that's, I guess that's right.
And watching the chat.
I'm running the PowerPoint and I'm watching the chat.
So you can do all the talk. Well, until, yeah, you know what I mean.
Except for how do I watch the chat and present my screen?
Oh,
It might be like this.
you might not be able to,
I-
but I
you know
should
what?
be able to.
I got another way to do that. Hold on.
Yeah, and then I can also look on this, but the live stream needs to be working. So it is the.
You sit up here, have our.
You're over there, where?
Okay.
And there's pizza back there.
Oh, gosh, thank you.
Yeah. And I got a packet.
The salad.
Find accountability meeting.
The two. We were gonna read them. So we have three. Yeah, so we had the one, that you, one who requested, written or, verbal or gonna, put in, so decided. So we got the three written and one that. And then, well, and then John. To do, versus,
I don't
or do you want to read?
technically, we'll figure out.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Liz Large.
These are cold.
That's all right, that's all right. Mine are clammy,
I didn't
so
put my hand warmers in my pocket.
no worries. I've, the in-house attorneys with signed. Yeah, so, yeah. So anyway, I'm here to help with the charter stuff, but anything else you need, you know.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm just gonna call.
I saw the problem.
Travis coming in.
But I think Kara is going to call.
Well, she was, if we had a quorum, she would.
All right, well,
So. Need four, right?
four, yeah.
It's that one. Bunch of.
So that's- yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then we'll have a couple others. that we'll put out.
That's good.
There's-
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and then, yeah, I put pizzas over there. And the small pizzas are gluten free.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah, right.
Oh, good.
A couple of things have happened since then, so I just go back to. Yeah, like I'm not, you're not.
Yes. No, I know you do. I want you to respect it.
In no way, in no way, in no way would, well, I just want, well, then I will personally take responsibility. There's no way for this to be.
It says right on the agenda, this is the game.
That's, yeah.
Easy.
That's it.
Stationary stuff.
That's the name of the document that I.
So we are going to present for red line.
It seems so. It's okay. Yeah, facts to let people, but that's.
Information that one, or that goes through them. So they're out. So.
Well, you can go down, yeah, or you can head down here, sketch what's together. All right, I'll do that. Because we have Norm on, so we do have a form. Okay. So here is it. We have four.
Yeah, boy.
With more.
Yeah.
And then,
Did anybody?
oh, and I heard, Fred, but that's, yeah, just running a little late, have director split. I'll hear it.
And is there Wi-Fi that we can just?
Yeah, it should be PPS guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you shouldn't, or some. Yeah.
Okay, and then there should be no password.
Yeah, there
Okay,
should
great.
be like, yeah.
Okay, great. Good.
I reviewed it.
So,
It was content.
solidarity.
Things that.
Oh, teacher tomorrow. Decided that solidarity.
That's very sweet.
That's very.
I'm good.
I come home smelling
Like
like
beach.
pizza breath. Years ago, yeah.
I've had a lot of, so this is the
I'll make
email
sure to
that
get-
TJ actually sent you.
Yes.
I have some in my car.
And this is where we said we do not.
All up north.
Yeah, that'll be just. Would be council. Okay.
So that's.
So that's the misunderstanding. So that's the misunderstanding.
Clearly in my. I said, I'm not.
But we should be able to hear.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
Well, not a big deal.
Okay.
I know, I was just trying to block your view. As long as possible, so.
Hi,
Greg.
Fine, thanks.
Good. I'm Jay.
Hey, Travis.
Nice to meet you, of course.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jonah.
I mean,
I did it, but I was
There's
saying
these two.
it was not the intent to, it just, it truly, we didn't. You're right.
You good?
It was just, we should have sent a presentation instead of, sure. I was gonna say, yeah, absolutely.
So we sent a scene map. There was an impact. That was kind of a match, which we didn't know about. We knew about, yeah.
I said it right after.
So I guess my question is, we did, we were.
Well, then do something.
Fingers.
I love it.
Us to hear
There's a lot of people having those like board tablets, whatever.
She goes out to loud music. Yeah. That's why they're doing it.
I think I mean, this is like here. So I went to the FIH. And that's what she presented. So, we went over and checked, so, proposed revisions to the PAC charter.
Yes.
And so.
Guys, like, come in and have to go to like, the cheap seats over here.
No, no.
Is that all right? Yeah. Yeah, all right.
In some.
Even if you're doing like a right.
Yeah.
I think so.
I was gonna say, like, yeah.
There were a bunch of. Well, that's why.
And so so anyway, but if you.
Listen, seriously though, your little situation. So it was an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was an app.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you lived like last year. No. I did the darn thing. It worked out pretty well.
With the charter.
Right.
And it's your thing, when you did it initially, it took an hour.
Our recommendation, it was, we, I'm sorry, I'm not arguing, I'm not trying to argue, you are arguing with me, and I'm just definitely not trying to argue with you, but I was the one that's sitting there and waiting to present everything else, so
Yeah.
I'm well aware.
I definitely don't want to stay delayed.
No, we're not gonna.
Okay, that's all.
That's why.
But is there a way to do?
Let's ask her.
Yeah,
Ask her. Yeah.
so what was the time limit that you?
I gave us the chart, I gave us 45 minutes.
Okay,
So you get like.
So Janice, we will pull up whatever you would like to see.
Well, I put in copies, so everybody can have a copy, because I didn't see the materials, so you don't.
Okay, so we get, probably as we speak, we have 45 minutes in the agenda for that, and so we can just try and hold that timeline, because I just had a committee member say, hey, I don't want to be here till 8:30. So anyway, this is a very efficient committee that's trying, a volunteer committee that's trying to get through the information as quickly as we can.
Efficiently.
Efficiently. Okay, so hopefully that, if you have printed material, if you need me to pull something up, I think we can help. Okay,
It's out to be.
okay, all right.
What's to us? No, okay. Because my, nothing to worked out there now. That was not something I got too.
I don't expect us to have it.
Sure, okay.
All right, let's get started. We got a quorum, right? It's quorum. Quorum.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Let me make sure.
Yeah, we'll start recording.
And then I think Norm is on that.
Speaker.
Chris Dunning is here. Being that it.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Victor Smith is on our back, but we can get started. Yeah.
Everybody's here, except for Carol. Who would you?
Hi.
Okay, I think.
You ready?
Okay.
Okay, let's get started. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Bond Accountability Committee for January the 28th. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. And we'll begin with our introductions.
Derek Henderson, bond program support.
Greg DiLoretto, Bond Accountability Committee and Chair.
Jonathan Trent on Accountability Committee.
Brian Kinsler, Bond Accountability Committee.
Travis George, committee member.
Good evening, I'm TJ Hopkins, Program Director with Presidio.
Sarah Norman, Executive Director of RISE, which is Real Estate, Infrastructure, and School Enhancements Department. Yes, it's a new one,
Yeah.
new one.
Hi, I'm Liz Large. I'm a contracted member of the legal team and a scientist.
Chris Dunning, Bond Accountability.
Start with you. We'll work our way up from this.
Hi, my name is Janice Hanson. I'm the auditor.
G'day, Tom Hodges, Chief of Integrated Operations.
Chris Lundberg, Bond Communications Manager.
Violet Howard Chan.
Live feed has no sound.
What's that?
Live feed has no sound.
We are here for the ERP presentation. I'm Charles, Cassia Policy Institute, here for the public forum.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move to public comment. Derek, Stand, we have some public comment, both written in.
Yeah. Hold on.
Chair, can we hold on 1 second just so we can get the sound
Yeah,
fixed for the
sound is
people
nice.
online?
Okay, nice. All right, and if we want to see, Norm, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. That might be as loud as Norm gets, so you might have to yell, Norm.
Okay.
Right, so they should be getting, right? Live stream. Okay,
Okay, ready?
yeah,
All right, this is what do public comment.
yeah, and we can start, public comment. We have John Charles, here to offer public comment.
Yeah, I guess we don't really have.
Yeah, we don't really have a formal.
You can, we'll look around, we'll look at you.
Yeah.
Have a simple handout.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
So my name is John Charles, president of Cascade Policy Institute, a nonprofit policy research organization based in Portland, and I have followed bond implementation and bond 2025 bond evolution for quite a long time. I've testified a couple times before this committee virtually, and I also basically watch all your meetings. What you do is really important, and I thank you for your service. And I just have a comment, brief comment tonight, based on some recent developments. I watched the FIO committee the other day. I watched all the committee hearings actually, and they talked about recommendations for the bond performance audit. One of them was strengthen the BAC's role and oversight. So I really support that. I'd like to see you have a stronger role. And as part of that, Vice Chair DePass made the comment, I would be in favor of making the BAC's job more simple. No, she's paraphrasing. No, you can't spend the money on this. Voters approved X. You need to purchase X. That was her example. And the bond counsel, I believe it was Ms. Large, said you want to make sure that the BAC is fulfilling the representation and commitment made by the board in the bond referral language. And I support both of those comments in terms of changing your charter or modifying it slightly. But I passed out copies of 2 recent bond resolutions, and I call your attention to the fact that Board Res 7215, acquisition of real property for the Center for Black Student Excellence. Fine, no problem, state's about to happen. But then Board Resolution 7237, resolution to name the building the One North property. So when I opened that, I was assuming something similarly boring to that first one. But there was no mention of Black student excellence anywhere in the language. Recitals B and C are particularly important in that they say nothing. Advancing a longstanding community-driven vision of what represents an historic investment in honoring student brilliance. So there's a messaging here I want to call to your attention. Every word of a resolution is chosen for a reason. So when phrase that appeared in the voters pamphlet and the ballot 2020 said Black student excellence, and that's not in the resolution, there's a reason. I don't know the reason. You might want to ask. So I think if the board wants you to have a greater role in oversight, messaging is important. So going forward, I would like you to suggest, perhaps in your quarterly report to the board, that every time they talk or write about one of the projects in the bond, especially the big 4, 3 high schools, plus the Center for Black Student Excellence, that they call it that, because
the One North building was not on the ballot in 2020. Mr. Grice wasn't on the ballot. Dr. Adair wasn't. None of those people was on the ballot. What people voted on was for the Center for Black Student Excellence plus the 3 high schools. So that needs to be consistently the message that if you're spending voters' money on these capital construction projects, specifically for those projects going forward, because you have years of construction ahead of you, and the messaging, I think, should be the same. And if there's been a change, that's no longer the name of the project. I think you should know about it and voters should know about it. It shouldn't just be sort of inferred by the total lack of the name in a resolution. So that's my simple little request. And thank you. You're doing a great job. I'll be sticking around for a while.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. We had 3 public comments submitted that I will just read for the record. And then if you want to discuss anything, they will also be given to you. Or I think 2 of them have been. All right. So the first one is from Afton Wilcox. Bond Accountability Committee members. Thank you to you all for volunteering your time to the safety and well-being of our school community. The attached seismic prioritization formula changes happened in the span of 1 month behind closed doors with no members of the public. Below, I have highlighted some important and relevant excerpts from the PPS Board Resolution 7109, also attached. Then the BAC with 1 question. PPS does not seem to be willing or able to answer for us. Where is the equity? Resolution 7109. Question. The board further acknowledges that seismic safety is an equity issue. Every student, regardless of zip code or background, deserves to attend a seismically safe school. Schools serving historically underserved communities must not be left at greater risk, and equity considerations will inform the prioritization and implementation of all seismic improvements so that all PPS students staff enjoy equal protection from hazard. The board directs the superintendent or designee to ensure that the planning and implementation of seismic retrofit projects will be carried out with full transparency and equity-focused approach in partnership with the community. The district shall publicly share the findings of the seismic risk assessments and keep them safe. Families, staff, and the broader community informed about upcoming seismic projects and their timelines. The process for determining the sequence of school retrofits will be clearly communicated and based on the established criteria, risk level, urgency, equity impact, etc., with opportunities for community input so that stakeholders' voices are heard. The board directs the superintendent to provide regular progress reports, preferably quarterly, the status of seismic improvement, including work completed, work in progress, funding used, and any adjustments to the schedule at board meetings open to the public. Doing so, the board will support ongoing accountability, build public trust, and uphold our community-centered responsibility to make every Portland public school a safe place to learn. We will continue to speak about this issue until it's fully addressed. Thank you for all holding PPS accountable. Captain Wilcox, concerned parent, concerned citizen, parent, and human being. Okay. The next one is from Ariel Potier. Sorry, I think I just slaughtered that. Dear Bond Accountability Committee, as a taxpayer and a mother of a first grader at Cesar Chavez K-8, I am writing to register my concern regarding the decision-making process for allocating the seismic bond funds. It appears the district intends to move forward with a prioritization list first presented at the November facilities meeting. During that same meeting, a member of the operations team flippantly suggested TSI measures would become irrelevant for PPS in the near future, while simultaneously assuring us that equity underlies all decisions. Only one Title I school is targeted for recognition, despite several other Title I schools ranking among the most structurally unsound with dangerously high risk schools. At present, the public does not have a sufficient basis for understanding the proposed list of schools, the prioritization process, or for informing alignment with PPS policy and board directions. Based on a reading of the board's direction in Resolution 7109, The superintendent and board have committed to a transparent and equitable process in partnership with the community, including the process for determining the sequence of retrofits will be clearly communicated based on established criteria with opportunities for community input. Instead, the process for allocating funds for this bond appears ad hoc and perhaps designed to appease parents rather than systematically focused on reducing risk for the greatest number of students efficiently. Many schools that have received partial retrofits in the past continue to have high risk scores. Therefore, pointing toward previous work as evidence of safety is insufficient. Size of work must make students meaningfully safer, not simply allow reporting that a building received a retrofit. We urge you as the oversight body for this bond to consider the following question. Equity, the PPS racial educational equity policy cited commits the district to providing additional and differential resources to support the success of all students, including students of color, and ensuring that every student has equitable access to high quality facilities. How does equity explicitly appear in the seismic prioritization formula that led to the current list of schools? How will Title I and historically under-resourced schools receive retrofits that meaningfully reduce risk? Target risk, what would be considered an acceptable risk score or range for PPS schools? Effectiveness of partial retrofits for schools receiving partial work, how much will actually risk will actually decrease? Maximizing impact, what strategies would reduce risk for the most students most cost effectively? Student consolidation, the district considered relocating students into Cleveland buildings first. High-risk buildings, how are high-risk concrete buildings prioritized alongside URM schools, given that minor score differences don't reflect actual human risk? Transparency, will the district share scenarios and calculations, including analyses, showing Beverly clearly and Rose City Park consistently rank highly under different assumptions and scenarios, prioritizing maximum structural safety for the most students, as professed at the November facilities meeting. There's some. Can't quite see it. So I'll just, with such limited funds, the district must commit to protecting the greatest number of students, including students in high risk, historically under-resourced schools, honoring racial equity policies in reputable ways, and maintaining transparency so the community can understand trade-offs and engage meaningfully. We appreciate your engagement on these questions and your role in helping the board keep equity, transparency, and student safety at the center of it. Kind regards, Ariel Tozier de la Potere, PhD. Final one, much shorter. Hello, my name is Mark Poria. I am a taxpayer in Northeast Portland and have been a past supporter of PPS bonds. I am writing to the what? Okay. Don't know if I have it just took a snap from me. So we can just provide that. If you would buy. Okay. Yeah, just because it's only coming up with half and I don't want to make that. Yeah, so yeah, we will provide that for you guys after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Keep those lenses in mind as we work through our meeting tonight. Okay, let's move to the school modernization update. We'll start with Jefferson High School. Sarah, are you the lead? It's TJ.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think we were gonna,
Actually,
is Michelle on?
yeah, we were going to start with the bond sale.
Michelle is on.
Yeah.
Michelle Morrison, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Michelle.
Thank you. Another lap around the sun. Woo! Happy to be here with this committee tonight. I've been tracking your work and I know that there's a lot of interest around the bond sale. So I wanted to come here tonight and share with you some information that's been circulated and then also take questions that you have. And if I can't answer them, I will follow up with you afterwards. So thank you for having me. We have a big bond sale coming up on the 10th. We have our third tranche for 2020, up to 90,000. We have nailed that down. It is $90,000 that we're looking to sell to raise capital for 2020 bond projects. For 2025, this is our first tranche, and we're looking at 570,000. So a total combined bond sale of $660 million. Those figures, we worked closely with OSM on cash flows to make sure that based on the projects that are scheduled, that we will keep our tax exempt status and for the bonds that we sell, which is a better deal to do tax exempt bonds, and have them spent down 85% within 3 years. So that's one of the pre-qualifications or well, just qualifiers for selling tax exempt bonds. So thanks for partnership with the team so that we can get that those kind of rounder numbers worked out. Are there any questions about the tranches?
No.
Okay.
No.
Great.
Okay, no, we don't.
No.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I can't see you guys. I might turn my camera off just to make sure I don't get bonked out of the Zoom meeting. So if you're okay with that, we can focus on the slides. All right. So the debt service on these bonds, so that's the principal and interest payment back, because we sell bonds, we raise cash, and then we have a debt service schedule similar to a mortgage or any type of financing. And we work with our financial partners to make sure that our schedule is not going to exceed ballot authorization over the entire life of our bond program. So we know that this is to go 8 years for 2025. So we're really trying to, of course, it will be front loaded because of the major modernizations. But our debt service, and I'm going to have some more slides on that. I won't spend too much time. I want to figure out what your interests, where their interests lie here tonight. Our next sale after this will be in 2028. And again, this is based on our current cash flow projections. So depending on how the projects go, the amount and timing of those. Oh, somebody's hurrying me along.
Sorry, Michelle. I'm sorry, Michelle. I was having a hard time hearing you.
Uh-oh.
No,
It's
just me.
just let us
It's
know.
Technical stuff here.
Yeah, just let us know when you want to change slides.
I will do that. I have a signature sound that I make. It's like this. So when you hear that, it's time to change the slide. Our ratings report. So whenever we are considering a bond sale, there's quite a lot of work that happens on the front side of it to make sure that our bonds are viable in the marketplace. So we have ratings reports. For this bond, we were rated by Moody's, and they haven't rated us for a while, and we were downgraded slightly from AA2 to AA3. And for Standard & Poor's, we maintain a AA-, and they each have, I linked to their information because they each have different kind of matrix for how they score bond issuers. So that's at your information. And our
May I ask a
resources.
quick question?
Sure.
Yeah, this is Chris Dunning. I'm on the Bond Accountability Committee. Would you be able to send us or link to the actual reports? The methodology was great, but I would love to be able to read the reports as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they are published at this point, so I will be able to link to them. We have several places that we're required to report our financial information, including our ratings, so that when we go to the market, our bond buyers can see exactly Moody's and Standard & Poor's opinion. So
Thank
yes,
you.
long answer, but yes. And the resources may be used to cover authorized activities so far. So we have done some preliminary spending for under the 2025 bond authorization. And so these resources will be able to.
Hold on a second, we can't hear you anymore.
How about now?
Yeah, we're okay now.
Oh, I don't know where I lost you guys, but
We just-
okay.
Back up like 30 seconds.
All right. So proceeds from these bond sales can be used to cover authorized activities so far. So we've been working already and spending some dollars on these. This revenue will cover those costs. Did you get it? Did you get my sound?
Yep. Yeah, we got you.
We hear you.
So I have, this isn't necessarily a super targeted question. But, and sorry, this is Travis George. I'm on the Bond Accountability Committee. But maybe, and maybe you'll get to this point, but I'm just sort of wondering what the interface is between your team that is responsible for selling bonds and, you know, I guess I don't know what else your team is responsible for in terms of like the financial management of the district, but like, where's the interface between the finance group and OSM in terms of tracking bond proceeds, the spend of bond proceeds, making sure that you know all of the proceeds are spent according to the bond document, the things that were identified in the bond documents as the things that proceeds would be spent on.
Great. Let me share a little bit.
Maybe this
about
is not true. It's probably not true, but it sort of just feels like there's a disconnect between the ownership of making sure that bond proceeds are spent like on a time basis and a purpose basis, in accordance with what needs to happen from a tax exempt IRS perspective, but then also just like the bond document perspective in terms of what assets are being built. So I know that's kind of a long meandering, it's not really a question, but I was hoping to hear more about how you as the financial management side of things connects with the project management side of things.
Sure. Let me tell.
I was thinking that would be a topic for a meeting. I think
Okay.
there's a lot of meat there, and so.
Sure.
If that's okay.
No, I just didn't know if she was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Had something here or not, but.
Well, I'll give you the quick
talk
shot.
about that whole thing, and you brought it up before, Travis.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it, and she couldn't, and Michelle couldn't make it tonight, but I think it'd be easier for us to hear if she's in the room and she can see our face and.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's okay with me, with you, Michelle. We'll go ahead and look at rescheduling you for that part of it, and we'll have you finish the presentation that you are giving us tonight.
Certainly, yes. I'm at the will of the committee, so I can also give a summary in writing for how we work together. Happy to join a meeting in person.
Oh, man, yeah. We're sorry, Michelle. The sound in here is really hard. We couldn't hear anything you said after we just stopped talking. I think now we can though.
Yeah, I think it's.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I can't tell if it's me or you.
It's us.
It's us for sure.
Definitely us.
Okay, well, I'll try and use few words so that we can get through these next two slides, and then I can regroup with you guys at a later date. I know that Sarah's there to collect questions. The major factors for school ratings are our operational fund balance, which I've included a table there. You can see that we have been spending down over the last several years. Our fund balance is just at 5% as of this year's budget. So that is not favorable in the eyes of Moody's and Standard & Poor's. They also look at the local economy and student enrollment. So especially for school districts funded on a per student basis, that's a sign of potential operational challenges if the student enrollment is declining, which ours is. Did you hear that?
Yes, we did.
Clear.
Great. We can move ahead. Great. So this is a great chart that talks about the projected levy rates. I kind of indicated to you earlier, our planning, working carefully based on the cash flows projected for each project. So you can see we're doing a bond sale now, which is the blue part of the bars moving forward. And in 2028, we will issue bonds again. And our target is to maintain that level tax levy rate because that language was included in each of our ballot titles.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you say a little bit more about the tax levy rate remaining the same that you're saying across all of these?
Yeah, so for each bond, you can see they're color coded up in the upper right-hand corner there. They are our current.
You also have it in front of you in that packet. I am so sorry. I did something on the projector while I was trying to do audio and I'm trying to fix that.
Yeah.
You have a packet. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, so the rear view are the black bars. So that's been our actual experience for levy rates based on how quickly assessed values in Portland are growing or not growing. And we really try and target that level rate.
Yep.
And then moving forward, you can see the blue, right? That's our current issuance. That's what we're going to sell on February 10th. And then again in 2028. And again in 2031, based on the cash flow projections we have today. If they change, we will modify this. But the goal for us is to make sure that we maintain that promise to the community to stay in that range.
All right, thank you. I understand that now. I couldn't see the whole page. So thanks.
Okay. Can we advance the slides? I think I only have one more. Right. This is the same information, but it's compiled into a table with numbers for folks that really like to look at numbers. You can see our latest projections. I think the red box indicates a more conservative percentage in assessed value growth over the next few years. That's due to some of the slowdown we've seen in the downtown and surrounding areas for PPS. So again, we're targeting that rate at $2.50 per thousand or less, as close as we can get to it. And I think that's all of my slides. I'm happy to answer questions or come back for another meeting.
Michelle, do you have a targeted interest rate that you're looking at in your bond sales? Expected?
Yeah, but I'm going to have to follow that up with you. I know the market has been a little bit volatile lately, and so our advisors haven't published rates specifically, but let me see if I can visit with them and get a range back to you.
Okay, well, we can have that at our next meeting when we answer Travis's question on the relationship between the financing and the project management team. So
that sounds great.
I have one quick question. This is Ryan Kinsella. I'm on the Bond Accountability Committee. Can you talk a little bit about how premiums, interest earnings are factored into the anticipated bond sale and how those allocations, the process for those allocations?
Yeah, so premiums are when it's like when you go to put your house on the market and you have multiple offers above what you listed it for. So that's really the margin. That's what a premium is. And we don't necessarily plan to receive a premium. What is required, though, is for both premium and interest earnings that we use those for the same projects that are covered in the ballot title. We can't spend it on other things.
So just to summarize that, would that mean that you would deduct like that amount off of like the anticipated bond sale to anticipate like that additional earnings? And that's not considered like sort of like additional revenues like that can be used for bond related projects?
No, if we do receive a premium, and I can share that back out with you after the sale, those dollars will be in our bank to use towards additional projects.
Additional projects.
That's what we've done in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Premium.
Well, so am I wrong? Don't you set the amount of proceeds that you want to raise the amount of premium doesn't, I mean, you're gonna get the proceeds that you want. If some of that comes from premium, great.
Yeah,
But that
it's
just means
it's
that
gr- it's
you've taken
gravy.
out less principal.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so, but the other piece of it though, I think maybe is a little bit more complex. Do you assume interest earnings on bond proceeds up front and then therefore borrow a little bit lower amount of premium because you know you're going to earn some cash on the proceeds that you hold before you spend them? Or do you just gross fund and then earn interest, and then the interest goes to or becomes additional proceeds?
Yeah, I believe it becomes additional proceeds because we don't have that information in advance. But the interest rate that we sell at is closely tied to the interest rate that we are required to pay back on the debt service. So I can bring you additional information that kind of speaks to that and review. I mean, really what I think we can do is look at the cash flow projections that we used to determine these amounts. And then so you will see whether or not they're included already. I don't believe there are because they're still variables, but they would be, again, have to be used for projects under the ballot title.
Okay, I'm gonna cut, we're way over time here, so unless you want to be here till 8:30. Well, let's put this on the next agenda. We'll ask Michelle, won't be your birthday, right? So we ask you to join us and we can have more on the finance piece of it because there are several, I think, questions that people would like to know. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for taking time out of your birthday. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Okay. Now, next is the update modernization. So Sarah or TJ?
Yes, I'm happy. You just keep hearing that.
Okay. So if it's easier to look in the packet, like Sarah said, you're welcome to do that, or the screen, whatever's easier for you. This first dashboard here is a cumulative across all the bond measures from 2012 to 2025, showing a total of $4.6 billion in funds. Again, that's cumulative, with the percent available being just above half. Half of those funds available. The bulk of those funds are in the 2020 and 2025 bonds, as you can see in the bar graphs below, with the spent to date on the left and spent and encumbered on the right.
And when you say total fund, is that everything the sum maximum of everything that's been approved by voters, or is that everything that all of the bonds that have been sold so far?
That's the total that's been approved by the voters.
So, and even though not all the bonds are sold yet, so some of, I guess, where would you see an amount that is approved but not yet sold bonds?
We can add that in the future. There's only one tranche left, which is part of what Michelle went over.
Yeah.
It was very hard to understand. There's one tranche left in 2020 and all tranches are left in 2025 bond program.
Okay, so I guess what I'm wondering is the 2.4 billion, is that made up of what's not yet been issued or sold from the 2020 bond and then all the 2025 bond?
Yes.
That's
And Maya, actually, can you introduce yourself again?
Yeah,
Sorry.
my name is Maya Horchan. I'm the financial services manager for OSM for Rise. So, yeah, I created this dashboard, and yes, the 4.6 billion is all authorized totals from the bonds, including unissued. So yeah, the available includes unissued.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this next slide is 2012 dashboard. I believe we are less than, well, it's 0% for all intents and purposes. Like this one is being audited, it's being closed out. The total funds were 547 million. with, this is showing 403,000 left, but I believe it's less than that since this report was run on December 19th. And Maya can verify that in the next slide, which drills down into the individual projects and programs within that bond budget.
So I kind of want to set this up a little bit because for our last, we've only had one meeting with you guys previously. And we talked about all the feedback that we received from the VAC and kind of understanding variances and things of that nature. And so that is where we created this spreadsheet that I'm actually going to allow Maya to walk through, if you don't mind, so that we can kind of walk through that with you. I just wanted to set that up. I wanted to let you know we heard you and we wanted to try and make that reporting a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
And we're continuing to refine. I want to say this is a snapshot in time and we're continuing to refine.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So this format should look pretty familiar to what you've seen in the past. So we have one slide like this for each bond program, just kind of running through. The only really active projects are kind of that last row you see in the top section, Grant and Franklin add-ons. So we've got those projects running out of 2012, and then the rest is see that 267, 627 sitting in contingency. So we're planning to spend that down as soon as possible. And we've done some reconciliation. So you'll see that that cell at the very bottom next to fund bell 480,767. So that's how much we have left in cash total for the 2012 bond. And so that is what we have left to spend. And then out of that 480,000, you can see under the additional encumbered, 77,000 of that is already committed.
And just so I'm clear, maybe I missed you saying this, is the other fund?
Yeah, so those are like grant funds that we received, federal or other.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
State.
Got yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But it's all grant funds. It's not like portion funded by some other source of revenue from the district or something like.
So generally no, although some projects may have started out being general funded and then turned into bond funds. So
there's
it
some
could be, yeah, it could be one or the other.
Okay, thank you.
That's good. Just a couple questions. So do you get to the 403 available funds on the prior slide by taking the 480,767 less the 77?
Yeah. Yeah, to answer that question simply, yes, the available funds is essentially what's unspent and unfunded.
Okay, got it. And then you said something about the contingency. It's currently showing $276,000 a year, I believe. And you said hoping to spend that down soon. But wouldn't we hope to realize that savings and like move it back into the general authorization fund? Does that make sense?
What do you mean by general?
I guess I'm not sure what I'm asking. I'm just like, if wouldn't we want to end up under budget?
Yeah, so over under essentially means that it's not, we haven't found a place to spend it yet. So we don't have a specific project that we're forecasting to spend, not 276 yet. But the plan is to find a project that's within the 2012 bond language
that money will be spent on what sometimes we call them betterment projects, because we were able to recognize money within that bond program. But whatever money we do find, whatever savings, if we want to call it that or over under, it still has to be spent in accordance with the bond language upon which that money was voted. So whatever the bond language associated with the 2012 bond program is what projects we will identify in calendar year 26, 27 that we would be able to use any money identified there.
I mean, if I'm thinking about getting budget areas, into like seismic work. That wasn't part of the 2012 bond.
Wasn't part of it.
Correct, and I don't think 2012 had seismic, but 2017 and 2020 did. So we actually talked about this at our work session with the BOE last night, and our slide actually has
Yes, because
the designation on the top of the bond language. I don't know if we have it
I can look it up
on this one. I apologize, but, and so per each slide, just so you're aware, it's there. We actually have a summary of the bond language that's associated with each bond, and you can actually see, if you see that variance, you can see what the bond language is associated with that. So that's what that could be swept to for the type of project. Yeah,
and we still.
and we can add that to this as well.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
so
great.
that's a note that we'll take, and we'll kind of put the summary bond language on these slides as well. We could do that next time. Okay.
And we had the Franklin security, which was like the pending under 2012. So that'll be part of the reconciliation process, making sure that we hit all the projects that were supposed to be, completed, and then, as Sarah said, reallocating what's truly remaining to another approved project, like going through that process.
The other thing I want to mention is, and I mentioned this to the BOE last night as well, we're still reconciling all of these bond programs. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that we still have encumbered funds that we may not be completely finalized out on the projects that are open. So that number may change the next time you see it because of that. So we're still in all of these bond programs, we're still reconciling everything.
I can just share, you're not gonna like super love this answer, so sorry.
That's okay.
But the 2012 bond language, at least for this slide from last night, it's modernization of Franklin Grant, Roosevelt, and Fabian. Middle school science upgrades, accessibility, and science.
Oh, it does have size. Okay, my bad.
And I'm happy to pitch in by just like sharing these as you go through this.
Absolutely, and I don't have them memorized, so thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, no worries.
So I didn't realize that 2012 had seismic in it, so there you go.
Yeah.
So we always have to refer back, honestly, you guys, we always have to refer back to the bond language. It's 2026, and this was in 2012, so thank you for that correction. But anyway, the money associated within the bond program will be spent on the bond language associated with that bond program. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Can I ask you a question about this table? And again, everyone be patient with me because you might all understand this and think it's a real dumb question. But when I see the original budget and then the current budget, the difference is huge. And I think it kind of looks like it's saying whatever the budget by a lot, but I'm sure that's not the case. So help me out. Yes. It didn't cost 3 times as much as you budgeted, right? Yeah, I can give a little context, but I just want to preface it with, we inherited this format of report, so I didn't come up with the, values in this original budget column. Those were hard coded into the reports that we inherited. So I can't tell you exactly like where those numbers came from, but what I can tell you is that the current budget column is a sum of the bond funds plus other funds.
Continue.
Got it.
Okay, I'm looking at the 2020 dashboard. Again, this is roughly mid-December with a total of 1.3 billion.
Wait, hold on a second. Did we skip?
We skipped
We
17.
skipped 17.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
well,
It's because.
That's fine. So 2017, 888 million total funds with 7% available. So as you can see, visually and by the numbers, we are nearing the end of this. Yes, there's still, 59.5 million as of December 19th on this snapshot that was available. So again, we'll be reconciling, starting the auditing process, making sure that we've captured all the bond work under the measure, and then rolling those funds, if there's any additional, into additional projects that also fulfill the language of the bond measure.
You want me to share that again?
Oh, what's in 2017?
Yeah.
Sure.
Modernizations, Benson, Lincoln, McDaniel, Kellogg, and multiple pathways to graduation. And then consolidated or district-wide water quality, security upgrades, new groups,
asbestos abatement, radon remediation, lead paint stabilization, life safety upgrades, accessibility, and besides,
Life safety.
Yeah, which is.
Well, it's set up in the same way, so I won't go over the layout and if there's other questions, but you can see the bond funds, 892 million. Other funds, 50 million. Actuals, bond and non-bond, 866 million. Of that, the bond actuals are 816 million. Additional encumbered, 15.2 million. Estimate at completion, 910 million. And then under 32.2. So, that 32.3, if it's sitting in a project, that means that it's expected to return back to the program.
And so is this saying that, you issued $892 million in bonds?
So, no, that 892 is inclusive of unissued bond.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so there are unissued bonds even for this.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, this is 2017.
Right.
All of them have been issued.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a math, what is that, $70 million of remaining bonds?
Yeah, and that's inclusive of the authorization and then any revenue we get from interest and proceeds from
So,
sale.
so if we go back to the last slide, does that show 70, it only shows 59 million? Just wondering. Sorry to put you on the spot. I know this stuff is complicated. But I would have expected to see at least 76 on this page if I see 76 on the other.
Well, and I think that's the difference because this one was ran,
I was gonna say, this one was ran on the,
so
what
this
is
is,
that?
this is literally the snapshot from the 19th.
Let's set my answer actually, because this is the dashboards from the 19th of December. And our updated financial status is from the 31st of December. I don't know if that had something to do with it.
Yeah, and you don't have to answer because I'm sure it's gonna be hard to answer, but I would just, the way that it's sort of shown.
Could you afford this one? Oh, sorry, it's for the 2017, back to stuff. Is that 13 million?
Yeah, it's just the encumbered. Yeah, I think
That would be 72.
it's the encumbered with the 59.
Mhm.
That's it. That's 72. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go back? Go.
That makes sense.
I think so. Can you go back to that table or forward to the table?
Yeah, really good question.
So.
Yeah, so in this table, you can see there's 15 million additional encumbered, and that's the difference between the 13 and the 15. I think it's just timing
Okay.
issue, but yeah, basically the available funds in the previous slide is what's both unspent and unencumbered. So it does not include that 13 or 15.
That's what you're thinking. What's the cost of for question? Just about since that 32. Or how does that get decided?
At the school board.
This and how it goes is really about the school board. That's your maker.
Ultimately, we would have to, it's a program that then ultimately would go to the board for approval, right? So any remaining funds within each bond program, we have to plan out for the district, right? And then we would go to the Board of Education and say, hey, we've identified this funding. This is association with the bond language that's associated with 2017. We've identified these campuses that could utilize these type of projects on those campuses. How would you like to proceed?
Okay. Like this body available for or?
We haven't in the past.
It hasn't.
But if we look at our charter and either more involvement or less involvement, we determine what or not we do.
It would be nice to at least be aware of when those, because I'm assuming you're saying you bring a recommendation for how to use it.
Right.
And then they approve or not approve. So I think it'd be nice to know.
It would be
that.
more than that, because our job, right, is to make sure they're spending the bonds in accordance with what the bond measure said. So to that extent, we do need, if we're gonna do our job, we need to know what they are, and then we have to confirm that they actually were spent in accordance with the bond language. So yes, should see it
After
before it
the,
goes to the board.
yeah, I mean, after the fact, we would confirm, before the fact, we would say that we agree that this seems like
Right,
it
meets
fits.
the intent
Yeah,
of the language.
yeah.
Okay,
Definitely happy to continue the conversation regarding that. Sure. Okay.
2020,
Right, 2020, 1.3 billion total funds with roughly 42% remaining. So again, this is where we're going to be identifying the bond language, making sure that we're scheduling out projects with the 551.7 million that's available under this bond measure.
And this is very typical. This is the 2020 bond. We're in year 6. This is an 8-year bond cycle. So it's not surprising that the bond cycle is sitting where it is from a spend and leftover. So that's kind of, just wanted to mention that as you see the 43%.
well, it's a little bit surprising
It's-
because we got stopped in the project.
True.
I mean, we would have been much further along,
would have
but
been much
we got
further along,
stopped.
agreed.
So we're behind.
I mean, it is a little bit behind. I would agree with you. It is a little bit behind schedule for that bond program. The one thing that we did not include in this presentation that I'm just realizing, TJ, is the pie chart that we provided to the BAC last time that we provided to the BOE, and last quarter when we met with the BAC that identified where the projects are within the bond program. I think we got to put that back in this presentation because it's not only a financial report, it's a report on where the projects
status.
are, what the status of the project, and I'm noticing that that pie chart is missing from the slide deck. So we'll get that back in as well.
The 2020 bond is for Jefferson Planning Design at Ida B. Wells and Cleveland High Schools and the Center for Black Excellence. Not pre-planning and design, but let's do this. And then consolidated curriculum materials, new tech for classroom and distance learning. So that's a pretty limited stack of money.
Yeah. Didn't say anything about seismic or any of the other stuff, huh?
Don't look like it.
Ah, okay.
Very specific.
Sure.
So, bond funds, current budget, 1.3 billion, bond funds, current budget is 1.38, and then bond funds is 1.32. Other funds, 56 million. Actual bond and non-bond, 728 million. Of that, 702 million for bond. Additional encumbered, 81 million. Estimate of completion, 1.31 billion. And then over under 71.
Excuse me, I got a quick question. Is
Go ahead,
Norm?
Norm. Yeah, go ahead.
So looking at the CBSE, the 60 million is showing estimate of completion at 76 million, showing it 16 million over budget. What's going on there?
That's actually a misforecast that we noticed when we did this reporting. Our PM at the time entered the 16 million, which was the procurement price of actually One North, which should have been deducted from the 16 million.
Right.
And what happened was it was added in the forecast. So actually, as we were doing this reconciliation, we recognized that and we wanted to use it as an example of how you guys can see it, and that we wanted to be transparent and show that. But that is where that is. That's why there's 16 million showing over budget, because it was actually entered into our accounting system incorrectly. It should have been a deduct from the 60 instead of an add.
Sure.
Good catch, Norm.
Norm passed the test.
Yeah, no, the rest of us failed.
I'm looking at
That means
things.
that on the very bottom right, that 71.9 is actually 16 million higher.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what we have to go in and do is we actually now have to go into our system and reconcile that.
So again, I'm just going back to my last question about these other numbers. The over under of now not 72, but 88. All right, 88 if you include the 16 plus 81, which is additional encumbrance. So that's like what we're still going to spend, right? Plus the 702, which is what we've already spent out of bond proceeds at least. That would be like 160 plus 72, so 862. And then plus another 90 that we're gonna issue, right? We didn't mention $99 in 2020 bond.
Right, the unissued is already accounted for in the bond funds.
Oh, okay, got it. But if what I'm trying to kind of compare is bond funds versus spent and unspent bond funds, and so it's like the 100, it's the 88, the 82, it's 170, I guess, million plus 702, it's 872 plus 90 is 962. So that compares with 1.3 billion in available funds. So just understanding what the $300 million or so difference there. And again, no need to try to find a track down answer, but I do want to reconcile them at some point on both of those slides. Just make sure I understand like how.
Moving forward, we're actually doing a financial reconciliation was not done on a monthly basis. It was done on a quarterly basis prior to us being brought on board. It will now, financial reconciliation between PeopleSoft and eBuilder will now be done on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So when we report to the BAC, we'll be able to have more accurate financial reporting. That will not be in to where we don't have one slide saying, for lack of a better way to say it, we don't have one slide saying December 15th and we have another slide saying December 30th. So we understand what you're saying, and in moving forward, we absolutely will reconcile those numbers.
Okay, and for the record, this stuff is really complicated.
It is
And I
very
totally get that.
complicated, and this
I
is
really
a very high level executive summary
Totally.
snapshot. And I just want to explain that the staff has to work in multiple software systems right now.
I get it.
And we are within our 60 days of our contract with the district, and we are still reconciling. And so, but we are working to try and get better information to the board and also the BAC.
Yeah, I'm asking this because I know I do this work and I know how complicated it is. And so I'm not trying to like, look, find things. I just think that it's better for everybody when there's greater accuracy, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I will say this, we're closer than we used to be.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna get better with the reporting.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our final dashboard, 2025 with 1.8 billion and 96% is available. And this is the modernizations. We've got all sorts of other consolidated projects in here. I believe athletics, athletic fields, curriculum, IT infrastructure.
This is Cleveland, if you're right, it's some money for Jeff. Remember, it's also security upgrades, seismic technology, improvements for Roosevelt, Lincoln, Franklin, and Grant. And create, I think that's athletic improvements.
It's athletic, it might be
For
spelled
Roosevelt,
incorrectly.
I'm pretty sure that's right. And Grant, and then creating an athletic hub facilities at Jackson Middle School and Marshall campus for the swing for athletics, for those facilities for like schools. The 2025 bond.
Current budget 1.8 billion. All bond funds right now, so we have any non-bond funds that we've received yet. Hospital stay pretty sparse, but a little bit of technology and athletics, a little bit of admin costs totaling 189,000. We've got 91 million in commitments so far. And then estimate of completion right now, we predict that
bond funds, so that will become more detailed as we progress.
I think the ERP project is in the technology project. So I think you heard at the last meeting that now that this bond is likely to be a bit more needed for the project. Do we know when the forecast is brought down? What stations are we in forecast now?
We actually have Russell here. He'd be able to answer that question for you.
Yeah, and I would say, so we're in a really great spot. We're on track. We actually started the finals vendor demos in the morning. Oh, yeah, so we have them Thursday, Friday, Monday. We will do intent to award on September 12th. We will be going to the board on their work session on March 31st, assuming we will finish the contract negotiations. We have basically 7-8 weeks to finish the contract negotiations. So we have a range in mind because of the 3 finalists we have. And we'll have a definitive number, assuming we're on track to make that board work session of 3. So April 1st, we'll have a definitive number, several weeks before that. Keep in mind, the way we're running that from a program perspective is we have the ERP vendor doing the actual technical solution. That'll be the lion's share of the spend. I have an active RFP out right now for the program management and change management because I want that complete attention. I don't want box watching in-house. That will probably be additional money. I don't want to give it a dollar amount. That number will also be finalized at the end of March. In the March, you'll get a very definitive number if you would like kind of a window between now and then. Just like
okay. We're gonna do the national forecast and match.
Yes, so and I think one of the things to keep in mind is, we'll get into it as we go through, but the ERP modernization is by itself a little boost as well. So we may want to think about things like, do we get a significant return? The modernize your warehouse. There are efficiencies throughout the ERP part that we want to think maybe beyond the HR finance functions, which is the core business capabilities of each project. So potentially, we won't have that conversation until we have a really definitive number from the incentives.
I assume we would weigh that against.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, we ready to move on?
All right.
Quickly, because we are so far over time.
Quickly remind me, what ERP vendor yes currently using?
Currently use software loosely based on a former version.
And the vendors are all 3 vendors the same underlying
no
provider? They're not. Okay. And the original budget for ERP modernization was
42.
And now what do you expect?
Less. But I cannot give you, nor will I give you the number.
Thanks.
Thanks. Do it.
Greg, I promise this is pretty fast. Because we're getting into IDB Wells and and stuff and so at some future meeting, I would love to devote a little bit more time into early thinking around unallocated seismic. Because you hear it in this meeting where we're like, hey, can we move some money around? You see it in the comments.
No,
I think there's a lot of interest in this and it'll relate to the charter, but I think as we think about like, what is the A in the accountability piece? We'll figure out what that is, but I think it would just be helpful to understand how staff is starting to think about this incredibly complicated work where you're trying to balance a gazillion different things. So that's my quick plug for a deeper dive on seismic at some other point.
Okay, started up on the modernizations.
All right, so these are the same project timeline schedules that were approved by the board in the comprehensive plans in the fall of 2025. So this is just, it's hard to see. It's probably easier on your handout, but we're basically into that land use process and design. So design development documents were submitted to the district earlier this month. And the GC is getting ready to start improvements at Marshall. That includes the track and the resurfacing, excuse me, the new track and the field resurfacing. With building permits or building permit following in March. This is
Basically what you just said.
basically the same thing. Budget, design development estimate was 1.6 over the budget, and I realized that I don't have the budget in there. I am happy to include that. It's roughly 369 million.
It's it back on what they gave us for 20. At 449, but now it's 3. But you're talking about just the construction budget.
Just the
Yes,
construction.
apologies. Yes, this is just construction. So again, value engineering is intended to get us within budget to the point where we can start considering important ad alternates.
And to be at 1.6% over budget at this stage is well within industry standard.
Sure. Your plan's at 60% design, 30, 90.
I would say closer, like overall in the process, like 70,
Okay.
75. Because they'll be starting construction documents at this stage in this month, or I'm sorry, in February. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Oh, okay.
I want to go straight here.
Yeah, okay, let's just go. Okay, so Jefferson, most of all the projects are roughly in, various stages of design development. Jefferson is as well, and we're expecting groundbreaking starting May 29th. So that's
So the
exciting.
ceremony itself will be before that. I
No,
mean,
that's
I'm sorry, that is the
groundbreaking.
groundbreaking ceremony.
oh, that is.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled for May 29th with construction starting in June. '26.
And I just do a quick, we might have the 29th, and I've been talking with just the superintendent, letting her know. We're a little nervous about having a public event in line with the senior event day, which is so we might end up doing community one on Saturday. But we'll update.
That's new.
I know, but this is,
That's the reverse of what I just said to the Board of Education last night and what the principal here.
then just
wanted.
forget what I said.
I said that
It was literally like,
I don't know, how old is that news, I guess is my, or how new is that news?
that is like literally, like we were talking about it this week.
Okay,
Like, cause it was like, yeah, they wanted to move to the 29th for the senior day, and I was like, I don't know if we can have like a community event during school.
no, this has been verified by the
Disregard me.
superintendent, by the administration here at Jefferson, and it is currently scheduled for May 29th.
29th, woo!
Yep.
Okay, so if this date does change, we will certainly make that update and keep you all informed.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, so we have critical scope decisions. So that includes things, building system, site building layout, specialized instructional equipment needs. So that's mostly like CTE coordination and making sure that we're getting those spaces defined in order to move forward in the CD process. Okay.
And you don't find any risks to your,
So-
next page.
Yeah, so at this point, most of the projects are tracking similar risks because we have the same architect on 2 of them, which is Jefferson and Ida B. Wells. So the risks are, mass timber and
You got any left over there, Travis, from the airport?
No.
Nope, used it all.
yeah, so some of the things that the project managers are doing, there's a lot of collaboration amongst them, like, hey, let's work smarter here and how can we collaborate on the project and make sure that they're communicating. So one of the strategies was to diversify the mass timber supplier so that essentially the district isn't competing with itself by using the same supplier of mass timber on multiple projects. So I thought that was very genius. Sometimes we don't think about the obvious things, and it's nice to know that we have that sort of forethought, and anticipation and mitigation of the risks. The other things are certainly building permits. That's always on the critical path. And again, we're working with the city and the major projects group. So the city has been dedicated partner in this effort to do a bi-weekly for every project. And it's basically, pulling out different aspects of a project and talking about, okay, let's look at your fire rating details and work through those so that by the time the plans are going for permit, it's really just higher level review, and it's speeding up, expediting that process and reducing the risk that we're not going to get rejected for a permit.
And by going through the major projects group, we are guaranteed a 16-week review and approval period.
Oh, wow.
Because we have done all the upfront work with the major projects group, we're guaranteed that.
What happens? I gotta ask, what happens if they don't make it? Do they just hand you your permit
I
then?
mean, I know. I can only tell you what the city tells us, okay? And we're doing everything we possibly can to get the project through permitting and review.
And that's for all three modernizations.
That is for all three modernizations, yes.
Before you go to the pictures, back when you guys talked about doing a two-step project on Jefferson, you do the first floor first and then go, is that you're not gonna do that now, you're just doing a project?
We actually are still reviewing with the contractors and the architects, and we actually will have a formal recommendation to the administration the first week of February. So we're bringing that to conclusion, and then that will ultimately be reviewed by administration with giving us direction on how to proceed.
Okay, so since you answered my permit question, I'm gonna ask a different question. Is Jefferson the one where Colas is part of the general contracting team? Yeah, because I think I saw it somewhere in the materials. There's information about a state called a COBID, but women and minority owned businesses and the outcomes. And I mean, I think as you go through this, it'd be worth tracking. Colas it's a Black owned general contractor, but there's a way that they got too big to be COBID certified. And so there's this, because we work with them at the housing authority, there's this crazy thing where it's like work that Colas does in some systems doesn't count towards the outcomes that you're trying to achieve. And so that'd be something to keep an eye on.
Appreciate that.
It's a little weird.
Okay.
No, and that's helpful because I did see that it said formerly certified.
Yeah, that's why it says that. They got too successful.
They did what the program was supposed to do.
Yeah, you can, Andrew Colas can tell you about
Isn't
this.
that what we want for all?
That's right.
Exactly, but it's
But it is, yeah,
it's bonkers, and so it's something worth keeping an eye on as you're doing this reporting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We actually do provide an overall report. I think we provided that after our last meeting. And so we do provide that reporting to the BAC, but it is something that we do track and actually report back to you guys on.
Yeah.
I think this made me want to say it for sure. I think that Colas became a new entity,
They're a joint venture.
a joint
Sure.
venture. And I'm wondering if they did that in part for that reason.
I doubt it. I
Okay.
think it has to. I don't presume to speak for either of them, but
Formed a new entity together. So to do this, but.
I don't. I mean, you often see big firms and
Mhm.
firms that. I mean, it's about bonding capacity,
Yes.
of the experts.
All right, I just
Yeah.
thought maybe that might be part of it. So I remember seeing that they've done that whole thing.
I don't think it had anything to do with
I'm just gonna flip through some
equity
pictures while
outcomes.
we're talking.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the renderings. Okay, Ida B. Wells, again, we're at a similar path. Design documents,
They're about 70% also.
yes, and a similar, path with land use, and then the early. Yeah.
Can't see the lines on this, sorry, on this projection. It's on the slide.
Yeah, we can say it.
Okay, so again, the design documents are gonna be, or design development documentation, that's all gonna be due to the district in February, with the CD phase beginning in March and construction beginning in December 2026. Perfect timing.
And so for both of Ida B. Wells and Cleveland, we don't have a groundbreaking set yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet, no.
Not yet. We're actually working on Cleveland right now. We hope to hold it either the first week of June,
Okay.
if we can, right before students leave. It's really important. I want to reiterate this. It's really important to the superintendent and the district for students to be involved in the groundbreaking.
Excited.
So they want to hold them during the week. And so that's something that we've gotten from Superintendent Combs, and that's one of the reasons we've been coordinating with on-site administration and the superintendent's communications office.
Okay.
But we do not have that one scheduled, but we'll let everybody know when we do.
Okay, and we were talking about this again, building permit and then the mitigation strategy is what we're currently doing, and that's working through the major projects group with the city.
This one's also a mass timber building?
Actually, each one of the modernization has a partial mass timber.
partial.
There is structural steel as well as, traditional structure and mass timber. It's a hybrid.
Got it.
All three modernizations.
I know too much about this one. The mass timber is in like.
Okay, come on.
The middle,
Come on.
where you see the design pictures, or yeah, it's like the middle. This is the best way. Yes, that middle.
This part.
I can't think of a better thing.
No, it's a really good way to
Architecture,
describe it.
too.
You're absolutely right.
That's the, okay.
Okay, so certified business, the big takeaway here is we're meeting, so the district has an aspirational goal of 18% utilization. We are meeting that. I believe there was not this slide, but the next one. So yeah, except for Malem on their career learning activities. So this is the latest update we have. The staff member that was tracking this is no longer with the district, but there is a meeting that has been scheduled. This work has been picked up by Presidio and we're moving it forward. They have not met their career learning activities. And like I said, there's a meeting scheduled. We'll get that on track, but otherwise we're well above the aspirational goal of the district on all the projects.
Okay.
Okay, Center for Educational Excellence. So this is the One North property. It was acquired just before
December 2025.
Christmas. So we're actively working with procurement, getting on board third-party services. This includes like architects, engineers, civil engineers, surveying, traffic impact analysis, all the third-party services that you can think of, hazardous materials that will support the bond program. And that includes, the vendors and architects, engineers, everything that we would need for CEE. So that's going to be our first step. It's in progress and we're expecting a solicitation, approximately 11 solicitations with multiple awards under each of those disciplines. That way it will give us the ability to say direct select and have multiple projects going at once all across the bond program.
So you're going to manage, Presidio, you're going to manage each of these individual, what I call subcontractors as opposed to a general contractor.
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
No. And we're sorry that is, if it's presented that way. Absolutely not. We are not a general contractor.
Oh,
That is
okay.
not what we
Oh,
do.
no, if that was.
We're a program manager. We're
Okay.
hired as program managers. Actually RFPs are on the street right now for all owner supplied procurement that is necessary to do the tenant interior that will be needed for One North.
Okay.
And at the same time, we're working with curriculum and on the program that will go into One North. That will be the first step in planning and then go into construction. So we've got about a year to 18 months of planning to do for this building.
Norm, you still on the call with us?
Yes.
He had a question regarding, and we cannot comment on pending litigation, but wasn't there a lawsuit that was filed against this project? The DOJ, or I don't know, something we read about in the land.
Norm is still on. I want.
Oh, Norm's on,
Just
okay.
check. No, it's okay. I just
Yeah,
wanna let you know
yeah.
Norm is still
So
on.
I'm happy to address
I
that.
just commented to Greg earlier that one of the things I wanted to bring up here was, as a risk risk analysis been done relative to that complaint that was filed, the civil rights complaint to the feds? And I see, I see the name change. In one place it's CPSE, now it's CEE. What's the status of all this? Because it is a risk to the project. I read the complaint, and I'm just wondering if analysis has been done as to the technical legal merit of that and the risk to the project that it may be. Hopefully it isn't, but it's something that's out there, kind of elephant in the room somewhat, and I'm just wondering what the status of that is.
The good news is we have one of the attorneys from the school district at our meeting tonight.
Well, I only heard the name change question. The board did make a decision to name the buildings. And it's after two, oh gosh.
Resolution seven, resolution 7-2.
Yeah, we got them right here from public comment.
Public comment, but you're absolutely right.
Right,
He's
so we
asking-
did go ahead and name the buildings after two Black educators. So one of them is the Grice Building, other is the Adair Building. And you'll see this moniker now, from now on, for the overall project, is my understanding, but we did have an official vote to change the names.
So that addressed the complaint then? Is that
He's
right?
asking about the
There's
civil
two
rights,
questions.
the civil rights complaint.
Well, I think the naming that's the easy part. I think it's the programming
Please introduce yourself.
and that was kind of the whole focus.
I think
Right.
everyone's talking and we can't.
Yeah.
Do you know what he said?
Yeah, he wants to know about the second part. He wants to know about the DOJ.
So like you, we read in the paper about the submission, but there really isn't, we have received no notice.
Oh,
The Department of Justice or the Department of Education that the complaint is being pursued by the,
oh, okay, so it's just what we read about in the
It
paper.
could come, but I mean,
Okay.
and they receive complaints. I think,
Yeah,
all the
right.
time and pursue everything that's submitted, so
Okay,
there's no substantive update.
okay, you got that, Norm?
I kind of heard it. So there's been no formal action taken or response to that.
Well, right,
complaint.
right. Liz says right. Okay,
So
Where are
we're
we?
just going to wait and see if something comes up later.
well, I suspect you are because you can't do anything else if it doesn't come up. Yeah. You guys they get sued all the time.
Okay.
All right, where are we at?
Okay. Next steps for the 2025 program. So yes, right now, well, currently, Presidio is working with PPS on staff alignment so that we can ensure that the projects are moving forward, the modernizations on the consolidated projects that include CEE, Cleveland, Ida B. Wells, Jefferson. And as you've learned tonight, we're working on the continued reconciliation of bond funds, verification that program requirements have been met, and identifying, any additional funds across the bond measure that can be repurposed and utilized for other approved appropriate projects. And then development of the 2025 program. So we'll be building that out within the bond language, building out the schedule, the scope, and that program. That's what we're actively working on.
Okay, any other questions? I appreciate everyone here putting together all this information so that I can write the report that's due after it's needed, but it covers the topics that we need to opine on. So, perfect.
I also appreciate you taking our feedback last time. It's
Yeah.
much more clear this time.
Yeah.
It's really
That
good.
is, listen, that's the whole point, right? This is the collaboration. It's an oversight committee. We want to, we're here to report to you what we are doing within the bond program and any improvements we can make to make this very complicated information clearer. We're up to the task. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Okay, next item. All right, so we have Liz and Janice. So Janice, your time is short. You're gonna have to whip right through this because.
You're shortening it in my mind.
All right, good, perfect.
Sorry these didn't get posted for you, but I brought copies just in case of the presentation.
Thank you.
So here you go.
Thank you.
And you get on page 5. The slide number 5 is where I'll kind of start. So on that slide, the bond auditor has made a recommendation that the BAC's charter be revisited to reconsider, like revisit the best use of the BAC, strengthen the committee's roles and involvement, oversight, and to enhance the bond program. This could include a variety of things. So I wanted to just give you some suggestions on what those things you might want to consider. So if you flip to slide 6, I have some suggestions for you. Oh. So, you know, one of the first, and I did a very similar presentation in the facility FIO committee meeting. So one of the first things I would suggest is to reach out to BAC members and ask you guys what types of information that you want to advise the board on. And then any changes that the board wants, I would definitely suggest presenting them to the BAC to make sure you guys are on board. Like a co-creation, I think would be a really great practice to get the charter to be what it is to meet everybody's needs. Another suggestion would be to increase the BAC's membership to include members with experience related to technology and curriculum. Those two categories have been included in the 2020 bond and the 2025 bond, but the charter language in the recruiting doesn't ask for those expertise specifically. So it's really lacking that level of.
I will say we added, Kara was added specifically because of her technology, but we didn't get anybody for curriculum. In fact, we could hardly get anybody, period, but yeah.
Awesome. Just a
We did get one.
suggestion
Yep.
to make
No, it's a
sure
good
we
one.
target some recruitment for the committee for those categories, so they're not kind of left out. I would also suggest increasing the BAC meeting frequency to, I would think, a minimum of 6 per year. Right now you're doing quarterly, so that's 4. And based off just watching the last few meetings, it sounds like you get modernization updates one meeting and then other types. It means you're only getting 2 presentations a year on modernizations. And we have 3 big projects that are kind of run somewhat concurrently in the near future. It seems very much like some increased frequency. Again, you're up to you, just some suggestion. I would also suggest that you revisit the following statement that is in the charter. So the statement is, the committee may request additional documents and provide advice to PPS staff on topics agreed upon by the committee and PPS staff. So this is, the BAC is a board advisory committee. So having a bullet point in there saying, well, you can also provide staff some advice if you two agree on what type of advice that would be. It feels very much out of place in an advisory committee to a board. If you want to kind of have that opportunity to provide staff with advice on things on a more routine basis, I would suggest clarifying that language and putting in the charter how that will be determined. Like, just because the BAC, hey, we want to give you advice on this, would a staff say no? So if, you know, we don't want, I'm just saying, like, think about that as you are updating your charter.
And just as we're thinking about that, that's if we want to give advice to staff as a committee,
right?
Like single people.
No, as a group.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
as a group, absolutely.
I would also recommend considering adding a mission statement to the charter. It really feels like it's lacking a real mission to kind of help identify what maybe should and should not be included. So a mission statement would be great. Revisit the following statement that's already in the charter, and that statement is topics and scopes for internal performance or for annual performance audit work. You know, feel really strongly about this, like that there's, you know, the team being audited shouldn't necessarily get to pick what the scope of that audit is. I would really like to see the scope of each annual audit be recommended based off of like a BAC recommendation. So I really hope that you guys think a little bit about that. And I'm available anytime if you want more information on what that might look like. I would also suggest, so in recent public testimony, there has been some requests to the board to provide increased oversight and bond seismic funds. And even here tonight, I think you mentioned something about like not being fully aware of how the decisions are made or whatever. So like, I've heard it. It sounds like there's interest in wanting to provide advice related to how we're spending bond seismic funds. So that could be something you could add to your charter. Last couple here. Revisit the use of the term may that's in the charter and clarify what that means. You know, I have watched a bunch of your meetings and I've heard you say things that, oh, wouldn't this be great? But there's really not an opportunity to be specific about the type of advice or recommendations that you want to provide. So anytime the word may is, think about in what circumstances it's a yes, in what circumstances it's a no, and be a little bit more descriptive about what that is. I would also recommend or suggest adding a charge to the BAC to monitor and report to the board on the key performance indicators established in the comprehensive management plan, as referenced in the Presidio contract. So there's in the contract, it says there'll be a management plan. So I would suggest that you guys take a look at it, identify key performance indicators, and report to the board on those key performance indicators over time. Then also, let's see, requests for information or documentation that is made by BAC members in your meetings. I would suggest that you guys make sure and capture those in your meeting minutes to make sure that there's tracking of them. I was listening to your last BAC meeting and I heard the request to have someone like our CFO come and talk about those. So I immediately sent her an email, hey, the FYI, the BAC is interested in having you. But when I kind of look at how is that documented, how are you really making sure you're following up on the requests for stuff like that? So those are some suggestions and I made it pretty short, but I would really encourage you guys to kind of think carefully about what it is. I know a lot of you have been on the BAC for several years, which is a great time to reevaluate a charter because you will have some experience of, oh, I wish the BAC could have weighed in on this, you know, so use that experience to help guide your thoughts in the charter edit or update. So basically, my hope for you guys is to refer a list of BAC charter updates to the board for consideration. So hopefully you'll come up with a list and agree on it, and then you can send it to the board to ask them for approval of the edits. And the last thing I also gave you guys is a copy of a charter for Sandag to kind of give you some idea of what other charters might look like, other community member-led oversight charters. And there are quite a few things in the Sandag charters that I thought, yeah, this oversight or this committee, Sandag, is talking about transportation and that type, and we're talking about school modernizations. But conceptually, like, it's still a community-led oversight committee. So when I looked at the charter, I saw a lot of the Sandag charter. I saw a lot of opportunities to kind of use some of the language there to your charter. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much. Hopefully I did really a
You did a great job.
version.
Yeah, that was.
Now we have the draft that was included in the FIOC. Did that incorporate the suggestions you made
I
here?
can speak
Oh,
to that.
sorry,
So
go on,
Janice and I have been working together
Okay.
on this. We tag team and have
Okay, right.
complementary roles. So the draft that you have is just slightly amended from what was presented at FIO.
Yeah, she was background on who made the edits that suggested to FIO.
So I took the external auditor recommendations, some pieces that had been suggested when I received the draft. It was right before the FIO meeting. Some of Janice's recommendations you will see in there, and then there are some cleanup, clarifying recommendations. There are a couple of areas of redundancy. So when you see deletions, it's because it's covered in another section. This is a working document designed to be a thought starter, conversation starter. The path that this is going on, the FIO committee talked about it at a fairly high level. Janice also presented her recommendations. There was some discussion. Again, a couple of the recommendations made there, for instance, inserting the language from the ballot title that promises a bond accountability committee was inserted. That was a recommendation from the chair. But the arc is that this comes here for input. And I think, I agree wholeheartedly with Janice's suggestions in my draft here. Let's talk about what you think needs to be clear. It is still it's a pretty detailed governance document. It should provide clarity on your role. I actually think the purpose of the committee is stated in here, which is a functional equivalent. It is the mission, but it doesn't say mission. And I think the gist of that is very clearly stating about what you're supposed to, why you exist. But I think how you do, what work is expected of you, how you do your work, and still at somewhat of a governance level, thinking about principles of your work, maybe more than specific examples. So the examples you're trying to work fit within the principles. And that's an art, not a science,
Right.
But that's sort of the overarching. So you will provide input tonight. We hope to generate some discussion. And when appropriate, we'll take it back to FIO, who will consider and very much wants to hear. And Greg, I assume you will be able to deliver that directly too. We're happy to assist, but I don't want to speak for you when you want to speak directly. And then the FIO will make recommendations to the full board. Ultimately, the board owns the charter and it makes those adoptions. But they very much, and you hear it in all the conversations, very much value the dedication that you all spend and on this work. That it's really important work to the community as well as to the board and to staff. And so I want to hear from you very much about what you think would be helpful clarity, additional scope, thinking about the additional Janice's recommendations for additional meetings, additional members. I mean, I think those are things that you should very much feel free to provide input on, as well as just an overarching question of your own, even if it's not in this red line draft or Janice's presentation or the external auditor's recommendations. Are there other things that you recommend? And I think this should be a pretty free-flowing discussion. I'm not sure walking through each of the red lines is terribly helpful. I think this is a generative discussion about what would be helpful to you and the public and the board to have clarified in your. So I have some specific questions to help jumpstart, but starting with an open-ended, I mean, what are the things you have thought about approaching this meeting that would be helpful in the term?
I have to relieve a babysitter, so I gotta go. But I'm gonna listen to this part of the
We'll put that in
discussion
the
because it's
charter.
like, yeah, right. I'll listen to this part of the discussion because it's helpful.
Have you guys had a chance to look at this?
I did.
Okay. I thought it looked,
I don't think my initial reaction was that it was like a nice cleanup. There was some clarification, but there wasn't a lot of like directional changes that were big, but I also I read through it pretty quick today. So like I didn't have a huge chance to dive in. I had one question before we maybe get there is I don't know, what's the history of how, like, it just says the district has established this committee. Was this created as a charge of one of the bond measures that voters approved? And if so, was it specific in any way that we need to make sure that we stick to continue to be in line with the bond measure that approved the creation of this committee?
So was it in the language of one of the measures?
I don't think that and I need to confirm this, it is not my understanding that the ballot measure itself created the committee. It was created by the board at a point in time. And so that certainly has reference to the work, the purpose of those bonds, but I don't think you're married to language that existed in 2012 or 95 or whatever. I actually don't know when the initial creation was. And we can go look at that and
It'd be helpful just to know if there was. Oh, you have it. Okay.
So that's it. He's talking about when it was originally created by the board, what was the purpose and how was it tied to whatever. I don't have to know that. You?
Well,
Copied exactly what was in the bond language and copied it from 2025.
But it just says the oversight and accountability. Independent group of community members will review quarterly reports and audits on how bond dollars are spent to provide accountability to the public until construction is.
and to clarify, that is from the 2025.
Well, it was originally the new.
It's in all of them.
Previous ones.
Oh, so it wasn't all, because we've had this committee since the 2012 bond measure.
And that language is in the red line.
The language requires
It's in the first paragraph.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
We can find out more about this, though, right?
Yeah, we can find out.
And I assume your bond covenants also, do they contain language that says you will have a bond accountability committee?
Probably not.
Probably not.
But you guys don't get if that's true, but I would be surprised.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I just want to put out there that, many of us board members, during the last bond campaign talked a lot about the importance of the BAC and wanting to make sure that you guys are able to provide advice to the board, that we're getting that flow of information. So I just want to put it out there that, especially the pieces that directly relate to the bond performance audit, but also just suggestions from, frankly, one of the biggest BAC fangirls around over here. So I don't know if getting this done today is possible.
I don't think so.
People talk about and everybody kind of living
We need a little more time.
So I just want to put it out there, given time, that we continue the conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't know to what extent, given public meetings law, how we can deliberate.
That was my next.
I had that question too.
Yeah.
This is the bond appointing committee, the public meeting rules.
Yeah,
apply.
right.
So we can work on the document.
We could appoint a subcommittee to work on the document of less than a majority of people on here, and we could do that, which I've thought about doing. Or we can hold, maybe, this might be an issue where we want to hold, we have to have meetings quarterly, but we can have meetings as often as we want.
Right.
It's just, we can't go longer than quarterly.
Virtual meeting and just
Right.
pull this doc up and work
Right.
with
And is it-
work on it together.
What are the notice requirements for the public and how would we properly,
Give a notice, like these
Okay.
meetings are noticed.
Just like these.
Yeah, we could do a special meeting.
It's not very
for this.
long notice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody asked, did you read this? And the answer, define read. I went through it very quickly, but I really appreciate Janice's comments.
Yeah,
and
they're good.
and they are really thought provoking. And this
Right.
idea of what are our principles? How do we actually add value is something that I need to sit down and think and then need to be able to be in conversation.
So I would
be able
just
to
officially propose that we do a special meeting
Yeah.
before our next meeting,
Mhm.
that we do a working session as a public meeting, and that we then go to the next planned quarterly meeting with a
An update.
we
Does
can
that
present
work?
what we've done and get your feedback and
Right.
others, because I really also I like this two-way kind of information sharing, I guess, but also just the purpose is, we all have a purpose to the public, but then it's also like meant to be useful to board also. So
I'd be happy to come to the work session too.
yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, that'd
That's
be
fine.
great.
Let's, before we
Let's just work
finish,
on
let's figure out a
scheduling.
date so we
Yeah.
can get that done.
Are we trying to get this in front of the, was it the FIO committee by a certain time frame? Is it like you talk about critical
Well,
path.
their next meeting's the 9th, so we're not gonna make that.
Right.
Actually, that one's been canceled.
Oh, it has been.
Yeah, it
Like
has
you told
been.
me.
So February, we just found
There's no
out, February
rush.
9th,
No.
FIO meeting has been canceled.
Okay.
We don't have to go back.
There's no.
And we don't,
Well,
I was,
that's the expectation they said at the last.
Oh, that
meeting,
you do have to
it'll
go
go back. I mean, the board could decide otherwise, but I also don't think, I think there's a focus on the quality, not urgency.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was-
And we can do most of the things without, honestly, without changing our charter. Charter's a framework. We can start doing stuff now. I mean, it, you know, that doesn't exceed what we originally can do. And a lot of those things don't really, some do.
Well, and
I
I
think
think,
you'll see references to the areas that James pointed out. There's
Yeah.
seismic,
Right.
the input on the audit topics. Those are contained in the charter already. If those need to be clarified or changed in ways that it's, you know, what's the opportunity that you want to define, or what's the problem you're trying to solve, thinking about how that language mirrors with that. I think, again, looking at those governance principles that need to be broad enough that you can fulfill the purpose.
I think what we should maybe make as at least a starting point for our working group discussion is just let's start talking about the things that we want to do and accomplish, and then do they fit? Do they not fit?
Yeah.
Like, can we accomplish those things within the current framework? Or do we need to add language or clarify anything to make really sure that we can do those things? And maybe this is like 95% already what we need it to be.
Right.
And it's just that it's almost like it's partly about this, but it's also partly about just coming together as a committee and figuring out what we really want our value added to be.
Right.
So
do we want to meet in a month?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
That'll work.
one thing I want to note there. One thing that came up in these recommendations too, we have like a unique dynamic now that we've had contractor, and we're so grateful to have Presidio here working with us. And I'm sure that working with them, we can figure out how I don't know, like I like accountability. I work for a public body and I love being held accountable by legislators when we get to come testify and talk about our work. I think it's really important. So I think I heard a little bit of that in here. So hopefully we can work together and figure out like what feels comfortable, because the board is not, the superintendent aren't necessarily experts. These are experts. So how do we want to get their expert advice to the board? And in a way that feels good for you. So that's something too I would love to figure out.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it awkward for sure, so
I'm trying not to make it.
No, you're doing great.
You're doing great.
You're fine. I also told her, if they're talking about your contract, you know, you may not want to weigh in on the governance issues related to a
Right.
contract. So, but you,
Yeah, I think like, I hope you want to have these guys taking a look at your work and being like, thumbs up, looks good, or giving you advice. I would want that. So let's like figure out a way.
So I think that, and this comes back to, and Janice and I have had a lot of conversations about the governance principle of, do you define a class of contracts that your charter embodies versus a specific contract? Or is there a resolution? Not everything you do will be visible with specificity. in the
Yeah, we
charter.
don't.
Is the charter umbrella broad enough?
Right.
Might the board give you a specific task by resolution to do something?
True.
So these
They
are the
may-
governance,
yeah.
how high, like, you're nodding.
Like
like
a
that.
special, yeah, that's true.
And so that's
So
the,
just for the other conversation, I wanted to just put that out there because I think it's new to what has been happening in the past.
right, and it's a very new dynamic and a
Yeah.
big contract, so it makes sense that that is a topic of conversation, whether it's specific in the charter or otherwise embodied in the work of a different channel. I think it pinheaded on charter language versus the work.
And I got a very important text message that, well, I cannot believe that this is the date on which they're meeting. They are meeting on 3/17, this 50% Irish. But, they're meeting 3/17, so that could give us something to aim to meet, talk before then, and that way they can talk about it.
Who's the meeting on this? I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh, facilities.
Thank you. I
Sorry,
just.
I didn't say it probably.
No,
I
it's
was so
okay.
tied up in like how funny it is that they have a public meeting on St. Patrick's Day, but not anyway.
So, you guys figure out a date right now, or am I gonna
Well,
dare to do a doodle poll?
let's try.
Yeah, about a month from now, last Wednesday of February.
Are we missing some members?
We are missing.
We are.
I was gonna say, I feel
We got
like.
no chance. Let's see if we can
I
get,
was gonna say we could do a poll or.
Yeah, I think we,
like pick 3 dates in a month.
yeah, why don't,
okay,
I would say
that's
like
fine.
end
Let's try the end of February.
of February and the first week of March.
Okay.
On the spring train.
Okay.
The end
Well,
of February.
The
Let's
end
try
of
to get
February
there.
is really tough for me, so, but you can go do it without me,
I can
but
do it on virtual.
I mean,
I highly recommend doing virtual.
yeah, I was gonna say that probably would be easiest to get
We'll
everyone.
be wanting to share screen.
yeah, that,
And we
I,
can record it so that people can review.
and I guess here's the other. Just to throw it out there. Since there doesn't seem to be a huge rush, do we really need to get it done by 3/17, or should we, can we have a couple of dates before, a couple of dates after, and whatever we can get the biggest group together on is what we do? And
Sure, the next meeting would be in April, they meet monthly, I think, so we would.
that doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
because
a big-
I can't make 3/17. I'm back to DC lobbying our
you don't need-
delegation. Okay, I don't have to be there. We do need a vice chair.
No,
Well, I
no,
just-
you know,
Well, she was,
my questions.
We
so
need a vice
that
chair.
was-
she was just saying, that, we could try to get done by their 3/17 meeting so
But
that
we
it
would-
could be, oh, but then you would need to,
I can't present.
you can't present it there anyway, so,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
That's
when I do my
got it.
delegation briefings, so.
Well, so then maybe we just plan for the April meeting anyway, and then we have more options, so. Okay,
And there's no reason we can't have a vice chair, even though this charter doesn't, actually, I don't even think it calls out any officers. We just need to pick somebody.
Yeah.
So that's.
I think how the vice chair, I would urge that there be some alignment about how the vice chair is selected because the board appoints the chair. And
Oh,
so-
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Didn't know. I thought I was the only one that would do it, so.
Yeah.
Happy alignment.
Might be.
Okay.
well, so after we all, I mean, to your point, when we all voted you.
Yes, it wasn't
Did-
official.
at the
Did anybody
next
take it?
board meeting,
Yeah.
did they
Did it go there?
officially appoint him?
It was on the. consent
Oh,
agenda. It was
okay.
Part of the report.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool, got it, well, there you go.
I guess so.
So ultimately it is.
Yeah, well,
is
and I'm
approved
used to
by the
that
board.
in other
Yeah.
other public bodies I'm on. I just didn't know that.
And
Just,
maybe that the vice chair doesn't need to be, but you just something to talk about.
Yeah, what we've done in the past, but is just say, can you do it? But we really need somebody officially to take over when the chair can't be there because it's.
It may
Yes.
be okay to
Yes.
have the chair appoint the vice chair, though.
Kind of wrap up on some thoughts, but the suggestions were super high level, so if you would like more input, what would that look like? In the form of the charter, just let me know, I'd be happy to
Okay.
do sessions, provide additional support, however. You might find it helpful, I'm definitely available, and the audit committee members, I've reached out, and they're like very happy to hear that I would be willing to support this. If it works.
I would
Just.
would
let me
really
know
like
if
you there
need.
personally.
Yeah.
I'd love it if you could join. You did all this work and
Yeah,
you
really.
have all these thoughts on it.
Right.
I think it would be helpful to have some context behind this too as we walk through them.
Yep.
It sounded like you were about to say something.
no, that's,
Okay, good.
Okay, so what the next steps are, we're gonna find a time to have a meeting on this very topic. That'll be the only thing we talk about.
Yep.
And we'll start going through it. Janice will be there and.
We
And
still have to
and
do
Luke will
public
be there.
I
comments,
take
right?
your, you provide the input.
Good. And you'll,
Translated. to
okay.
each-
and I mean, I guess don't be surprised if we're not a whole lot different than what you proposed, right? But once we start with the basic outline.
And when's our next?
Our next real meeting,
Yeah,
did we put it in our thing?
Be the last week in April.
Last week,
okay.
which will be a virtual meeting.
It'd be virtual.
Yeah, well, it'd be the 22nd, or is it the 29th? There's 5 Wednesdays.
was gonna do it for,
29th, you got the hold on the 29th.
okay. Bob, I already did it.
You did. Oh, it's on my calendar.
It's on my calendar.
29th.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
It's on my calendar.
29.
Virtual will work well for me. I'll be in Hawaii, but I'm gonna do it. I'll be meeting here.
The 29th, I'm sorry.
April.
April, fifth, okay, well, you know, in spite of everything, we're 5 minutes over.
And I was gonna say, I think if it's all right with you guys, we can skip reading public comment, because I feel like that took some.
Yeah, what I'm used to doing is you summarize, we can summarize what they
Yeah.
say, so, and because the letter will be in the record, and we can just
Right.
summarize what they say, right, Liz?
I think you can decide what is most helpful in
Okay.
fulfilling your charter, but
Yeah,
in other committees and in the board, there are slots for public comment by people who appear virtually or in person. And written comments are distributed to
Yeah.
the committee members to read.
I mean,
So
we've had such little in the last 6 years I've been on the committee, and all of a sudden we've gotten some,
I
so.
think that the challenge you have is that if suddenly you got 15
Yeah,
pages,
we have.
how you select which ones you would read and didn't is problematic. So you kind of want a uniform practice.
Yep.
And that's why the slots are limited, because you can't make content-based decisions.
Sure.
Did we only miss one half of one that you could?
yeah, I just couldn't read the whole sentence.
And we don't, you still don't have it.
With that,
And you don't have it now still, right?
I don't have the.
It's
yeah,
online,
I have
we
the-
got it.
Okay.
We got it.
I'm not sure. what the-
Well, maybe we can work that out at our,
If I remember.
The one I saved is not.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so we'll wait for your call,
Yep.
and we got the next meeting, our regular meeting planned for now, and then we can talk about whether we want to have more often meetings, which looks like we're already starting to do. And anything else for the good of our order? Not, we're adjourned. Thanks, everyone. There's a
Thank you.
boatload of pizza.
Have some pizza. Take a box.
Take a box of salad.
Yeah, the lunchroom at PTS is gonna be.
I might usually try and skip it.
oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So they're gonna have, so we can do it virtually. I'm in Hawaii, April 10th to May 1st.
Okay.
But we can do stuff virtually, so.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We can do the agenda virtually, and we can do,
Yeah.
I'll be able to run this meeting virtually, since we're virtual, and that's where I'm running it. Except for 3 hours.
Yeah.
2:30 in the afternoon. I'm actually better off. I'm busy, I got a lot of traveling. Yeah, I got a lot of traveling coming up, but that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. Doesn't count on me to share.
I mean, right. Yeah. Well, I'll follow it. With all the next steps, I'll go through to get the minutes. And then.
You use AI?
Your stack. I have not probably.
I mean, my broker does that when he meets with us, you know, he
I was
does
gonna
AI.
say,
That's
it's a different department than
Yeah.
ours.
Oh, that's not.
Yes, that is managing.
I'm Kelly.
Kelly.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Well, they're gone, they're.
I'm one of the applicants or
Oh.
whatever for
Yeah.
I'm great.
Great. Yeah, nice to meet you.
But.
That's okay.
But we would.
Yeah.
We would.
Never been fun, buddy.
But I think it was good you came.
I think it just gave me context for the things that happened here.
Yeah.
And like I had questions populating in my mind. I was like, you know, it's pretty engaging to hear.
Yeah.
Still have questions?
Win-win.
Oh, no, I think we're all eyeing the contingency and like how we can allocate that to other purposes, maybe. And like understanding like there's a lot of risks. They were that contingency has a purpose. So I like how they're thinking about it.
Well, you know, and I didn't get that question of Wednesday.
I don't know, like you guys probably have to do the project.
And so.
There's a reason that not.
But
Several months. So they had to make 2 meetings. Months ago.
But they, their ethos was like, let's get it out to order, like, start a nonprofit. And so you just think it's growing more to us. And meanwhile, the city says, well, so like, you know, now every fire truck. Well, like, they, so they.
You know, since we're gonna. When's the board appointing?
Years ago.
When is the board appointing?
For like a half.
I don't-
Well, I guess, you might want to sit in on the discussion we're gonna have on the charter because it's a public meeting, so you.
Money, yeah, right.
Give us money to.
Yeah.
Performance, you know, like the honor value.
Been a great
quality.
job.
Yeah.
You sit through like 2 hour meeting.
Yeah.
You are like.
Just kind of in your piece.
Yeah. But yeah, I can definitely.
Okay, fine. But I mean, when you think about like. Who these, and then sort of, and they're equitable, and the thing is, I bet they still have this huge fortune. So anyway, your staff's already. Staff's already done it, but.
Like climate comfort.
Right.